Dr. Waddell Brooks Sr., your host, and this is Community Forum. This evening we have a distinguished guest, and you probably remember her as a co-host on Community Forum, but she is elevated to the position of guest tonight. Mrs. Tara Tomas. Good evening, Tara.
Good evening, Dr. Brooks. It's nice to be here.
We're very happy that you have taken time for your busy schedule, and education is your priority topic. As a matter of fact, this evening we're going to be talking about our children's future.
Yes.
And youth education is so important. As a matter of fact, Frederick Douglass even mentioned, once you learn to read, you will be forever free.
Amen.
And that's the Urban League, National Urban League has a motto, a mind is a terrible thing to waste.
Yes, it is.
I want you, Tara, to tell our listening audience, those that have not seen you before, a little bit about your personal and professional background. Who is Tara Tomas?
Wow. Well, I'm a teacher. I'm an educator. I guess I'd say an educator 24/7, because if teaching is your passion, you never stop.
Okay.
I had the pleasure and the fortune of, my husband was transferred to Illinois. We're from Michigan.
Okay.
And I came here, I didn't know anyone. And I ended up actually teaching in North Chicago for the past 5 years, where I have been blessed to be really mentored by two wonderful women, and it's odd that they are related. One was a daughter, which is Dr. Cassandra Brooks, who's a principal, at Forrestal, and Dr. Daisy Brooks, who is the CEO of Daisy's Resource Center. Resource Optional School, And by the Lord placing me in both of those schools, I learned elementary, and I mastered elementary, and I mastered high school. So I was able to really develop a passion for the two different techniques. But both women had a passion for their students. So I was very blessed. Of all the places God could have put me, I ended up in North Chicago and became very active in the community, North Chicago and Waukegan and the North Shore area. And I got to know many of the students who I run into all summer long. And they see me and they're like, Miss Tomas, Miss Tomas. So my passion is education, and I'm really fortunate that I had the opportunity to be here and teach in this community.
This community is very fortunate to have you. I know both Cassandra and Dr. Daisy Brooks, just love you. Matter of fact, you've been adopted into the family.
I feel that way. And again, I said, I don't know how I landed here, but God put you where you're supposed to be. I had no family here. And I told Dr. Brooks when she decided to retire this year that I'm like, I'm just not letting you go. You may think it's over, but no, because when I have a problem, I know her phone number. I got her home number. I just call her. Dr. Brooks, what should I do? And she's always there. Dr. Brooks is Dr. Brooks Sr. There's so many Brookses who are doctors. That's unusual for African-American families. Which I feel fortunate to be in that environment. But she had an open door policy in her school for the students and the staff. And Dr. Brooks Cassandra has that same policy. And I think that's why their schools were successful, or are successful.
I think the community would love to have teachers in the school with your background and your enthusiasm, your empathy, and the list goes on and on. And I think North Chicago would be a much better high school. I think we talked about this before. If the teachers had the background, don't you?
Well, you have to have a passion for teaching. It's a calling. I work with Pastor Todd Fletcher. And he told me, he was in the military, but he said he had a calling to be a pastor. I had the same calling to be a teacher. I graduated undergrad from Wayne State University in Detroit, Michigan, and I got my master's here at Trinity International University here in Deerfield, Illinois. And the one thing that Trinity strives on is that you must have a passion for teaching, because they will drop you. They will literally drop you from the curriculum if you don't want to teach with passion. They don't want to just produce numbers. They want to produce educators. So I think I'm kind of blessed in that I did attend Trinity, where I was taught it wasn't just teaching the numbers and teaching language arts or teaching history, but teaching young minds. And you've got to want to do that. So when kids entered my class, I always when I was at Daisy's for the last 2 years, I had a no cursing policy. Now, I know people think that in this day and age, kids have to curse. No, they don't.
Okay.
And Pastor had the same policy when he was teaching that, because he also taught at Daisies.
Okay.
And when the kids, you would hear them saying maybe inappropriate language in the halls, but when they walked in those doors, I promise you, there was just no cursing. And I had people say, some of the other classrooms, they could still do that. Well, you run your classroom the way you want to. But if you give kids guidelines and boundaries, even kids in urban communities, they will adhere to those. When you give up and say, well, these kids, they just won't do it. They're just not going to do it. Well, that's on you. That's on the teacher. Because in my room, I told the kids the first day of class, I will respect you, I will never call you out of your name, and I will never curse you. All I ask in return is you give me the same respect. And you can ask any of my students in the last 5 years, Mrs. Thomas has never done that.
Something happened at North Chicago Community High School, because we have 3 youngsters that graduated from high school, I say, but 50 years ago now. Well, no, not 50. They're 50 years old. Not 50 years old now.
Not 50 years ago.
No. Back in, my oldest daughter was 1977, and my son 1978, and Cassandra was 1982.
Okay.
And all 3 they went to top-notch colleges. My son, he graduated from University of Illinois. My Yolanda graduated from Michigan State University. Matter of fact, she's in the same class with Magic Johnson.
Is that right?
Yeah, but he left after sophomore year.
He went to play
went
pro
on
ball.
to better things.
Different things.
Multi-millionaire,
Yeah.
this type of thing. And my Cassandra goes to National College of Education, National Louis University now.
Very good school.
And they were top-notch students at those, even in those colleges. But what happened now at the high school? The youngsters are just barely being prepared to go to community college.
Well, it's true if you go by the numbers, because the Illinois report card for North Chicago shows that only 9% are ready for a 4-year college.
9%?
9%, and those are statistics you can find on the internet. They're available. They were reported by North Chicago Community High School. But it would be inappropriate to say that the kids, I think it would be inappropriate to say that the kids don't have desire to learn. If you must have a desire to teach.
Okay.
I found that kids are like a sponge. If you give it, they will absorb it.
Okay.
If they're not being given the knowledge to absorb, and if you come in with a predisposition that, well, these kids don't want to learn. And, everybody can have a bad day.
Okay.
And believe me, I had kids who had a bad day, and I would just say, are you having a bad day today?
Okay.
So could you just be quiet and let me teach? If you don't want to learn today, that's fine. You can do extra work tomorrow.
Okay.
Students like your 3 children, there are still students in North Chicago like Dr. Brooks's. And I'm referring to Dr. Cassandra Brooks, Yolanda Brooks, and Waddell Jr. There are still students that are like that, who want to learn. What we've got to do is filter why they're not getting the information they need to be prepared. Now, a lot of people said, well, charter schools are the answer, magnet schools are the answer. The problem is we brought in a system, it's not a problem. They thought they were correcting a problem by bringing in, I believe, AUSL.
Okay.
Now, AUSL has been in the school district, particularly the high school, for the last 3 or 4 years. And unfortunately, the numbers have gone in the reverse.
Wow.
They've gone south.
So money is not the answer,
No.
because they were, North Chicago received, what, $2 million for 3 years? That's $6 million.
Per year.
And you mentioned that the scores are going down.
The scores have gone down instead of going up. People say, well, why are these charter schools working? Well, Forrestal is a good example, not just because Dr. Brooks is a teacher there, but Forrestal was considered one of the top schools in the country last year, and I think it ranked number 2 in the state. Now, Forrestal, ironically, is in North Chicago.
Okay.
So how do you explain a elementary school like that being one of the top schools in the state? Well, what you have at Forrestal, which makes it work, and it is not a charter school, okay? You have a principal who allows her teachers to teach, okay? She allows them to teach. Yes, Dr. Brooks demands that you adhere to the Common Core standards. She does. But she also gives you the latitude to expand beyond.
Okay.
All right, so she's saying, okay, these standards are fine as long as you meet them, so we're within the state guidelines, excellent. If you choose to supersede those, even better. a lot of principals don't give you that latitude. Okay, Dr. Brooks at Daisy's gave you the same advantage, saying, you know, yes, you must teach to common core standards, but feel free to supersede those.
Okay.
When you supersede those standards, your students, your children are going to get they're going to supersede. Okay, they're going to learn more. We mastered Shakespeare at Daisy's last year. Students, they don't get that in high school.
Yeah, I mentioned I taped that program.
You
too,
did.
that you,
and we did Canterbury Tales, and if you ask any of my students about Canterbury Tales, they can tell you from A to Z what it's about. Yet they said, we didn't really get that in the high school. Well, why? You have to learn to teach to your audience. You can't teach Canterbury Tales the way it was taught to me, because I learned the old-fashioned way, the English version. I taught Canterbury Tales to their generation. They could not understand the concept. They didn't get it. It was so abstract about, for example, being in a carriage and going on this long journey to Canterbury. But when I put them on a cruise ship and told them they were going to the Bahamas, they got that. You know, and they got that they would sit around and tell a story about their lives and how they all got to be on this cruise ship. Well, that's all Canterbury Tales is. But when you have principals who allow you to teach and allow you to break it down for your audience, the kids will learn. That's what you have. And that's why Forestall is so special, because they're allowed to teach. Now, should you check in on your students? Yes, I can tell you when I was at Forestall, I never knew when Dr. Brooks was coming in my classroom, but you can believe she was coming in there once a week. She monitored the classrooms. Dr. Brooks, same thing at Daisy's. She also periodically would step into her class. She might be a little slow, but she stepped in that class. And there was a realm of respect. Okay, there was a room of respect for both of those principles. Kids want to respect you. You have to give them something to respect. They want to learn. You have to give them something to learn. So when I hear people say, well, you know, the kids in North Chicago, they just can't learn. Oh, yes, they can.
Let me give you a good example, though. At Daisy's optional school, there were about, a few years ago, there were 60 students. Last year, there were 35. These were students that were suspended or expelled or what have you.
Truancy.
They came there, and some came without the GED.
Yes.
Maybe 5th grade or 6th grade education in high school.
That's true.
They received their GEDs and graduated. I think last year there were about 14 that graduated in the class.
They do. And I would hear people say that, well, when you come there, they don't care about grades. But I beg to differ, because I would have kids sign to say that they had their homework. I had kids do homework. Now, a lot of children at Daisy's, they have particular circumstances. They do. A lot of these kids have jobs. You know, when you and I went to school, you know, I didn't have a job after school. When I got after school, I had to go home and do my homework. And I had 4 or 5 hours to do that. These kids leave and they have jobs where they work till midnight. Now, what we do at Daisy's, what they were allowed to do, they were allowed to do their homework in school. We had mentoring and we had tutoring. Well, that assists you when you're at a larger high school. You know, North Chicago community is a very large school. I think they have 960 students. So, you know, you don't want to badmouth them. Perhaps they don't have the accommodations to adhere to that. I don't know if they have a tutoring program after school. And then, you know, like I know for me, I would get to school 5:30 in the morning. I didn't have to be there till 7:30. I would leave many times at 7, 8 o'clock at night. You know, I'd get off at 3:30. But Dr. Brooks would allow me to stay there. And I would have kids who would stay after school, who would come back, and I didn't get paid for that. I stopped getting paid at 3:30. Again, I don't teach for the money. I didn't have a union to say, well, my union says I got to leave. You know, I can stay as late as I want. I had a key. I could lock up, which means my students could come back and they could be tutored. That's what you're missing. We can't get paid for everything you do in life. Is it about the money? You have to ask yourself, or is it about the student?
Let me tell you about the payday that Dr. Cassandra Brooks and Dr. Daisy Brooks received. They received a pat on the back from the President of the United States of America, both of them. Daisy received it in 2010, August 4th, that's the President's birthday, August 4th, 2010. Had a picture taken and so forth, and most of you seen it in the community. Cassandra received a pat on the back from the President of the United States, you know, and well, just last year, I guess it was, you know. And so I have 2 Brookses that received pictures and congratulations from the President of the United States personally.
And now that's a payday.
That's a pay.
And I can only dream one day to be in that club with them. I told them that's a private club that they have, and my goal one day is to be in that club with them.
Well, you getting it because you have a vision, and you wanted to put into place now of a charter school yourself. Just what is a charter school?
A charter school actually is a public school, and people need to understand that it is a public school operated with public funds.
Okay.
And the funds follow the students. The misconception is, I've heard many people say, well, you know, if we have a charter school, it's taking money from our district.
Okay.
No, it does not take money from your district. The money follows the student. If that student was to attend AB school, the money would be there. If the student opts to go to XYZ, it's the same money in the same district going to that same student. Okay? So the money does not leave the district. What it does do, it gives you latitude to be able to teach beyond certain boundaries. And to a certain degree, I feel sorry for a lot of public school teachers who might have their hands tied. Okay. In a charter public school. Now what we want to do is there's a group of parents and officials and pastors, and believe me, the church, one good thing about North Chicago and Waukegan, churches are involved. Okay. I don't care what anybody says, don't believe any different. The churches are involved in these schools and these children. And they care about this community and the next generation. In fact, there's a young man coming after me now, Mr. Tylon Fain, another good product of North Chicago, and he goes to a charter school. So be able to sure and talk to Mr. Fain about that. But this school, if we are blessed to have it, we have two schools we want to bring to North Shore District, and they will be Lake County charter college pretorial schools. Now, are you familiar with urban prep in Chicago?
Yeah.
Now, urban prep is in Cook County on the south side of Chicago. A young man by the name of Tim King had a vision, just like I have a vision. And he brought that school there in 2009, I believe. That's only 5 or 6 years ago. He came from Georgetown, and he had worked as a dean at a Catholic school, and he thought, we can put these principles in south side Chicago. People said it couldn't be done. People tell me, you can't bring that school to North Chicago. Those boys aren't going to pull their pants up, okay? Because Great Lakes Prep is the all-boys school, our vision. North Shore Prep is the all-girls school. They said, those girls aren't going to wear blazers. They're not going to wear nice plaid skirts and knee socks. And they make it sound as though these kids are from another planet. They said that in Cook County on south side of Chicago. This year, urban prep, those boys graduated in those blazers, in those ties, with their pants up to their waist with belts. 100 students. Of those 100 students who graduated, 100 are attending four-year colleges, and 100 received scholarships for those four-year colleges. These kids were not the best of the best. It's a lottery. Tim King took those students, and he made them the best. He made them the best. And I tell you, we have the same students here in North Chicago. We have girls. Unfortunately, I did my some research, and I found that we have the highest rate of illegitimacy in North Chicago, percentage-wise, of girls having babies between the ages of 13 and 18. That has to stop. I'm not against children, but I'm saying give these girls another chance to make a decision to be a Dr. Cassandra Brooks, to be a Rita Mayfield.
You had a young lady graduated last year. She had 2 babies.
Yes, we had kids graduate this year who had a baby.
Well.
And they're doing well, and she's going on to college. My position is, when you know better, you do better. If you think all your life has to offer is just having a baby, getting on drugs, shooting up, having guns, being in a gang, if you think that's all it is, that's all you see. I'm telling you, Rita Mayfield, I see her everywhere I go. And I'm out here this year. You know, she's from this community, I believe, from North Chicago.
North Chicago High School.
Okay? So I'm telling these young ladies, you can be, she spoke at, I don't know how many of my classes. I call her, she comes and speaks. You need to see that. Dr. Cassandra Brooks is from North Chicago. You know, there's a surgeon I met recently who works at a hospital down in Chicago who came out of Daisy's nursery school from North Chicago. We need these girls to know they can be astronauts, they can be doctors, they can be lawyers, they can be teachers, they can be anything they want. And there's nothing wrong with being that animal. I have 2 sons. You know, I'm a mother. I have a master's. But you have a choice. Young men need to know they can pick up a book instead of a gun. It's okay. Today I had the wonderful pleasure, all of us who were watching these young kids out of Chicago, these 11 and 12 and 13-year-old kids from the Jackie Robinson West.
Yes.
Those young men, they typify what I think we have in North Chicago and Waukegan and Zion. We have those children here. Do we have the parent support? Not all the time, but we have parents here. Please don't take the belief that North Chicago parents and Waukegan parents don't care. Yes, they do, but they work. Many of these people are working, and so they may not necessarily be able to come to all the meetings, but don't dismiss them as irresponsible. Are there irresponsible parents in this community? Yes. Are there irresponsible parents in any community? Yes. We're no different. But I think that our kids deserve a chance, and the other schools, it hasn't been working. They brought AUSL in, numbers going down. I'm not giving you my opinion, these are facts. So I'm saying, do the children deserve an option? Yeah. Are we gonna play politics with money, with kids' lives? That's not fair. They deserve a chance to be Dr. Brooks, to have a television show. Don't play with their lives over money. They said, well, they're taking money from, no, we're not. The money is not ours to play with. That money goes to the students.
Can we pause just 1 second? We've been talking about the Brooks children, but tell us about your 2 boys. Now you can take as much time as you want to, but the community will have to know the role that you played with 2 boys.
I do have 2 young black men who are young men now, believe it or not. My oldest son, both of them attended what I want to bring to North Chicago. They both attended all-boy college pretorial schools. So they did wear blazers every day, and unfortunately they were in a boarding school, but I kind of cheated because I took their curriculum and we're going to teach it to these boys out here. And that's a $25,000 curriculum per year, But my oldest son, they both went to Orchard Lake St. Mary's Prep. My oldest son graduated. He went on to undergrad at Cornell. He graduated from Cornell, went to Columbia Law School and to Harvard Business School. So he has 2 Ivy League degrees. My youngest son now, Christopher, graduated from University of Vermont this year with honors. And he has been accepted. He hopes to be going to Harvard Medical School.
Fantastic.
He's torn between Harvard Medical School and University of Vermont because that's where he wants to go. But he's been accepted at both. Both my kids, now my oldest son, yeah, he's brilliant, I'll be honest. But my youngest son was not. The one who wants to be a surgeon. He was like my students I have, who wanted to play. You know, he wanted to go out there and play and have a good time. But actually, he thinks he had a vision from God, literally. And he said the Lord told him when he was 12 years old that he was going to be a doctor. From that point on, he changed and he worked hard. So, yeah, I have one who's a lawyer and one who's going to be a doctor. I guess I feel like a Jewish mom, you know, I get the doctor and the lawyer. But yeah.
Well, we have other parents in the community that have kids in school want the same success for their kids, right?
And you can have it. You have to. No, you know, I'm pushy. And the district is finding that because they're trying to tell us we can't have the school here. And I'm like, it's not about you, it's about the kids, and we can have it. And with my children and with my students, you know, I do push. And my students would say, Miss Thomas, you know, my motto is, failure is not an option. And so when a kid comes to me, I told my students when I was at Daisy's and Forrestal and wherever else I taught, never use the word can't. I would, as much as I don't want you to curse, I'd rather hear you curse and tell me you can't. That's the worst 4-letter word in our vocabulary because our kids can. So you can say, I'm having difficulty, but don't tell me what you cannot do because you can. And my kids are good examples. You know, their mother pushed them. And you have parents here who are pushing their kids. And you have teachers here who are pushing their kids.
Now, the charter school, to just back up a little bit, it's a public school.
Yes, it is.
It's tuition free.
Yes.
It's open to all families in the district.
Yes. Now, what's unique about the schools that we're proposing, and I say we, meaning Pastor Todd Fletcher will be the headmaster or principal, if you will, at the all-boys school, which is Great Lakes Prep, or Great Lakes College Prep, which I think is unique considering the boys in Chicago who won the World Series, they were called Great Lakes also. So that was a good sign. So Pastor Fletcher is he's going to be the principal there. It's an all-boys school with the same connection of urban prep. It'll be the same type of curriculum. So, and those who know Pastor Fletcher know he's very strict, but he's very fair. The girls' school, which I hope to be the principal of, is North Shore Prep. And we will have the same curriculum pretty much that you have at Woodlands Academy in Lake Forest, as well as Lake Forest Academy, I think it's called. And they are college pretorial courses. So it's like the STEM program: science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Both campuses, I would like to say, will focus on that. So the kids will have 4 years of science, 4 years of, they have to take 2 foreign languages, which they will come out, we hope, fluent in. They will take 4 years of mathematics, girls at the Girls Academy as well as the Boys Academy. They will also have fine arts. And we're hoping to make a connection with the golf course here to help them even get golf lessons.
Oh,
so we're also aligning ourselves with colleges. Because when you say you're a college prep, it's easy to say that, but we have an affiliation being worked on with Trinity International University.
Okay.
And Rosalind Franklin for that science, for those who want to major in pre-med. So when the kids come out of our school, when they graduate, they have an opportunity to actually get a associate's degree. So they'll be able to graduate with associates and go into college and only have 2 years of university to get their bachelor's.
I want the parents, the listeners, to really take note of this, because you mentioned 2 academies here. Woodlands, I think, is about $25,000 a year.
$25,500.
And then the Lake Forest Academy is
$37,400.
$37,000.
Yes.
And they'll be getting it free.
They will get the same education,
Same education.
free.
Free.
We're actually adopting the exact curriculum, and they will get it free. And the teachers we're hiring, I could tell you some of the resumes we're receiving you wouldn't believe, of the teachers who want to come because they want to be in an environment where they feel students want to learn. The one thing Urban Prep showed us, if you ever have a chance to see them, these boys are proud to go to school every day. And they have something like 2% absenteeism. And one of the main problems we have in North Chicago and Waukegan, our kids are absent. And I feel they're absent because you have to give them a reason to want to come to school. At Urban Prep, they're not missing school. These are the same kids who went to the same public schools, but yet when they started going to Urban Prep public charter school, they don't miss school. And there's got to be a reason for that. Why are you willing to show up in a tie every day as opposed to showing up with your pants hanging down? So don't tell me these kids don't want to learn.
Yeah, I want to clarify that. You know, when you mention free, I guess for people, eyes light up. But it's not free, but it's free to the parents.
It is free to the student in that their taxes pay.
Tax
just
money,
like their taxes pay for any other public school. Their taxes pay for college charter public schools. They do.
This is fantastic. Well, tell us about the progress that's been made for these 2 prep schools.
Well, this is a dream I had, and I actually acquired this dream when I was teaching at Forrestal. Because I saw girls and boys who were so brilliant in the 1st grade. I mean, we actually, and we were in your show, had kids who were doing...
I may replay that too.
Okay.
Yeah, really,
but
seriously.
We had kids in the 1st grade who were doing multiplication, and I don't mean like 2 times 3. I mean, they could actually do 36,760 times 60, or times 306. And these were 1st grade 6-year-olds, And we
call them Forrestal All-Stars.
All-Stars, because they were. And many of those kids were double promoted in that class. And when I was there, I kept thinking, you're lucky. These children were lucky to be able to go to a school like Forrestal where they could learn at that pace. But what's going to happen to them when they go to middle school? And what kind of high school are they going to go to with this advanced knowledge? Because they're not going to come in as the regular kids, because these kids have been taught an accelerated pace. And I thought, we need a school in our community where they're not defined by their zip code. And what I mean by that is Lake Forest Academy, Woodlands Academy, Notre Dame Prep, all of those schools are fabulous if you are fortunate enough to have the money to pay that kind of tuition. But the fact that you don't have it, should that mean you're stifled, that you can't receive that same type of education? And I say no. So I thought, what's the option? The option is to give them a college pretorial school in our community for Zion, for Waukegan, for Round Lake, for North Chicago, where these kids can go and get that same education. Just because your parents don't have the money doesn't mean you shouldn't receive that education if that's what you want. If you have a strong desire to go to college, to be an engineer, to be whatever, you should have the same opportunity. And the problem is, we're no longer competing with Lake Forest. We're not competing with Stevenson. We're competing with Japan, with India, with the Middle East.
Right.
My son is starting medical school, and he said that when he went for the first orientation, majority of kids in the class, it was 80 kids, 65 were foreign.
Wow.
Okay? So our competition is not down the street anymore. Our
Okay.
competition is global. And we are at a position where we need to prepare these students global.
Right.
And that's what they'll be able to get at North Shore Prep and Great Lakes Prep.
I can see if there's so many children that will be applying to go to your school
We hope
that,
so.
that you have to use the lottery.
Yes.
And that's what happens,
fair.
right? If,
and it's fair
if you-
because that way everyone has an equal opportunity to go. I asked some of my students before we left last year, would they be interested in going to the school like that? And they said, oh, Ms. Thomas, do you think it's possible? Do you think we can have a first college pretorial school out here? I'm like, yes. And the good part about this, it will not be based just for North Chicago or just for Waukegan. Hopefully, it's going to be Lake County.
Oh.
So we're not going to take all of North Chicago students. They can relax.
That's that vision you got there.
Yes,
see,
my vision is just
not limited,
No.
but whole county.
So we'll take very few students from each district so that it won't be an impact on that school district in terms of their money, because we know they're concerned with that now.
So we have here a situation in North Chicago where we have a community called Marion Jones area, and right now they're boarded up and they'll be ready to be demolished, and within a few months. Initially, where will those students go? They will be scattered about, from may go to Wisconsin or Round Lake and other school districts.
That's what I've been told.
And
I was told a lot of the students are going to Round Lake. Unfortunately, Round Lake is in our scope.
Okay.
Those students have a chance
you
to
could
go
get-
to these schools. And I'm hoping, I had quite a few of my students last year who lived in Marion Jones community, and I hope I do see them. These students were very bright. We have, Dr. Brooks, we have such bright minds in our community. They just need to be fed.
Okay,
It's just like
okay.
anything. If you have a beautiful plant and you don't water it, it's going to die.
Right.
So we're raising, I like to think that that our schools give us an opportunity to raise some beautiful plants as opposed to some beautiful weeds.
Okay.
Okay, if you don't fertilize it, it's going to be a weed. So we're saying, and what's different about North Shore Prep and Great Lakes Prep, it's community driven. I don't live here personally, but I feel like I do. I'm here most of the time. I need to move here, and I am moving back in this direction. This community cares about these children. I don't care what the newspapers say. I don't care about what the media says. I worked in these schools, and I saw the parents coming to the schools. And I had the phone calls and people asking me, how can I help? What North Shore Prep can offer, as well as Great Lakes Prep, Pastor Fletcher has a vision called the Agape Foundation.
Okay.
And what that does, it supersedes our schools just being for our students. We want to have an impact on the parents. A lot of parents aren't equipped to necessarily help their children with physics or calculus or statistics, because we're going to teach statistics.
Okay.
And we're going to have physics, and we're having calculus. And many parents in this community don't even have a high school diploma, which really surprised me because I thought that was there.
Okay.
But they have desire to help their kids, but they academically don't have the skills. What we're going to have with the Agape Foundation is after-school lessons for free for the parents, for the guardians, where they can come in, they can get a GED. We're trying to develop a relationship right now with CLC, so they can even get an associate's degree, where they will be able to be, not better parenting, but be able to have the skills to assist their children. I know this year, when my son graduated this year, he had some class. It was off the hook, Dr. Brooks. I couldn't even. Norman, I would edit his papers. I didn't know half of those words. They were over my head. I'm saying, well, you surpassed me, Christopher. I can't help you anymore. But, I was able to help him all the way through college. Well, we got parents who can't, they don't have that, but they want it. And so with the Agape Foundation, we're going to be able to assist the parents. We're going to be able to teach them. We'll have classes for free for them. We're also going to be able to help, many of our residents are homeless. And Pastor Fletcher, he's the pastor of First
Baptist
of Lake Forest.
Of Lake Forest.
First Baptist Church of Lake Forest. And this foundation will actually started at First Baptist.
Oh.
And so we're going to implement it in our school. So if you need additional resources or whatever, we're going to be there for you. And that's something that public schools don't offer, but we're going to be able to offer you that in our college pretorial schools.
Pastor Todd Fletcher was scheduled to be on the program tonight, but he's so busy with all the
I'm gonna talk
projects he
about that.
may be used working on this project now. You know.
I hope so. And he's been making a lot of appearances. We go out everywhere we can to actually see if the community wants these schools. Because it's one thing for it to be Tara Thomas's vision. It is. I have a vision for these kids. I see them graduating, Dr. Brooks. I see them going on to college. I see Dr. Brooks coming to speak at my first graduating class. I know she don't want to do it, but I'm a persuader. And I see them having a future. Pastor is doing the same thing. There is a school in Indianapolis called Charles Tinley. Same concept as what we have here. And what they do that I think is marvelous, every classroom is the name of a university. So you have Howard University, you have Harvard University, you have Yale University, you have Georgetown, and as the students enter the class every day, the instructor says, welcome to Georgetown, welcome to Yale, welcome to Harvard. If you are hearing this every day for 4 years, you know you're going to go to college. And that's what we're going to do at North Shore and Great Lakes Prep. When they come in every day, welcome to Oxford, welcome to Cambridge, welcome to University of Chicago, welcome to Loyola, because you've got to be fed that every day. My kids went to college. They think it was their idea. I talked to them about college when I was carrying them, when they were born. So they had a choice as to where they were going to go, but they didn't have a choice if they were going to go.
My son, when he finished high school, I asked him, was he going to college? You know what he said? Do I have a choice?
No, you don't. And that's, see what I'm saying?
And that's what he was.
And look at, and isn't
that's
he an
automatic.
engineer? He's an engineer now.
Electrical engineer.
And not only that, he ran the daisies. We could not have a computer system had not been for Mr. Waddell.
He's still doing it.
Oh my God, he's like phenomenal. But that's the kind of thing was instilled, because like he said, did he have a choice?
It's just extension.
His choice was the school, but wasn't if he was going to go. He could choose a college, but he couldn't choose if he was going to go.
Yeah.
That's what we're trying to give our kids.
We let
here.
them choose the college they want to go to. You know,
But
my daughter chose Michigan State, and I said, "Wow, out-of-state fees." I was thinking about, you know, and so that caused us to be a
little nervous.
Entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So I really, that's how I got involved in entrepreneurship, to ensure that they go to, I want them in college, so I don't care where it was. Could have been Georgetown University or
I
wherever.
Hear you. And Michigan State, I'm from Michigan, so Michigan State's good school. I'm pro U of M, but I'm
I have to
State.
talk about an extension since we have time here. My granddaughter received a scholarship to Howard University, $90,000 a year.
Are you 90,000?
No, not a year. $90,000 scholarship.
Okay.
90,000
for the 4 years.
Yeah,
that's about right. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
So are you proud?
And you should see the fees I'm paying in addition to that.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Their fees you pay for high school in addition.
Right.
But 90,000, that's what tuition costs nowadays. But when I mentioned urban prep, those kids got that.
Okay.
When those boys came out, and I think President Obama spoke at their graduation. I know he sent them a big tape, and they were on Good Morning America. They were all over, just like the boys were here today for Great Lakes West World Series. You know, we're showing the best of the best. These are ordinary children.
Yeah.
We have these same children on Lake Shore, on the North Shore. We have them. But we just need to give them the tools so they can exceed like urban prep, like Great Lakes West. We have those same kids here, but we don't have a baseball team. Do we have a little league baseball team out here?
You know what really happened when I saw that celebration in Chicago? I thought about Neil, Math and Science Academy. Pastor Fletcher had a championship soccer team 2 years in a row.
See?
But no, it wasn't publicized. We didn't have parades, and this was a junior high, right?
These kids, yes, they are junior high. They are.
Championship, and nothing.
But see,
no
what you have different in Chicago, it's community-based driven.
Okay.
There's a lot of community engagement with those young boys today.
Okay.
You saw the parents, and not only did you see the parents there, you saw the grandparents.
Okay.
You saw the pastors. I don't know if you were watching when their pastor spoke, and he spoke so well. And they had a chance to have an international pastor, Jesse Jackson, speak, and they said they wanted their pastor to speak.
Okay.
Right. So, but when you have that type of community involvement, then you're going to have that type of reaction. Plus, they are the United States champions.
National champ. Yeah.
They're national champions. And I think if you have, and again, we mentioned Pastor Fletcher.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see what he's going to do at Great Lakes.
Right.
I can't wait. And you think you saw some stuff today? You wait till Pastor Fletcher finish.
Yeah, he's already at champions.
North Shore is going to. We're going to see a metamorphosis in these young men, and we need that because we don't need to keep hearing about we have gang problems, we have shootings. We do, but we're not the only community that has that, and we're not the only state that has that. But what we are going to have, and we need an urban prep out in Lake County.
So what I really listen to you, and our listening audience to listen to you also. You are giving these children hope.
They give me, you know what? My hope comes with my faith. And I know it's not politically correct to talk about God, but I do it indirectly.
This is community forum.
Can I do that? And I try to live in a Christian way.
Okay.
You know, when I was at school, even when I was teaching in public schools, especially at Days in Forrestal, even when I subbed at North Chicago High School, I always had my Bible on my desk because, you know, I believe you can't be ashamed of God. My son told me, if God is your co-pilot, you're in the wrong car. God's supposed to be the pilot.
Okay.
So I took that,
Right.
and he said, if God's a co-pilot, Mom, you're in the wrong car. So I leave my Bible there to let them know that you can look at this anytime. You don't have to discuss it with me. If you have a problem, usually the answer is there. I believe in these kids, Dr. Brooks. And I have seen too many kids turned around. All they want is someone who cares. Dr. Fletcher, Pastor Fletcher, I asked him to be the principal at the Great Lakes Prep. Both of these schools were my vision.
Okay.
But I didn't realize Pastor Fletcher had the same vision at the same time.
Okay.
You know, God works like that. And I said, you know, we're trying to get these two schools out here in Lake County, and I think you'd be great for the all-boys schools. So he said, really? You know, why? I worked with him at Daisy's in 2013 and 2014. And I saw him take boys who were hardcore.
Yeah.
They were really hardcore boys because the high school didn't want these kids anymore.
That's
so they sent them to Daisy's for her to fix them.
Right.
Now understand, they sent them to Daisy's Optional Resource Center for her to fix them.
Okay.
That's why they were there.
Okay.
And, you know, they were pretty rough. My first week there, I said, I don't know if I can handle this. And Dr. Brooks said, yeah, you can.
Okay.
I saw Dr. Fletcher. I keep calling him Doctor, Pastor Fletcher.
He's on the road there.
He should be. I saw him talk to these boys. Now, you know, he's military.
Right.
He was in the Navy.
Right.
Never raised his voice. Never. When these boys were cursing and they were loud, never. His voice did not go above this octave.
Okay.
So you can't keep yelling and screaming when someone's not yelling and screaming with you. I learned that from Pastor Fletcher. And I saw him take boys who were smoking dope outside the school.
Okay.
Stop smoking dope outside the school. I saw him take boys who were cursing and screaming in school. Stop cursing and screaming in school. The only thing he had a little challenge with was getting the pants up. Now, they would bring him up, but they would slide back down. But he was working on that. And I thought, if this man, this God-driven man, can do this with these kids, they learn by his performance.
Okay.
He's a man to lead this school. That's what we need. We need a strong black man. Forgive me for those who are not African American, but you need a strong man. He is that person, and he's God-filled. And that's what these kids need. They need to know it's okay to be a Christian. It's okay to be smart. It's okay to be a leader. And it's okay to pick up a book and go to college. And that's what he gave. And I hope that I have that same impression with the girls, because that's my vision, that's my goal. I want nothing but the best for these girls. I mean, your success comes in what you produce, not who you are. And I always tell people, once we get this started, I don't want to be the face of North Shore Prep. I want the girls to be the face of North Shore Prep. It's not about me, it's about the girls.
I'm excited about North Shore Prep, and because right now they're building more prisons.
Yes.
If they're not in North Shore Prep, they're going to be in a prison, and the prisons are being privatized, so they're really getting ready for. As a matter of fact, we talked about this, and I have to mention again, the organizers can predict by the third grade. If the child's having problems by the third grade, they plan on building prisons based on that, because if that child will have difficulty all the way through each grade level till they reach high school, and it's very challenging there, and they have a tendency to drop out
Yes.
And once they drop out, what's going to happen? They do the things that cause them to be incarcerated in their statistics.
Isn't it interesting that we're preparing prisons
Yeah.
for these students instead of preparing universities?
Ah,
Isn't that interesting? And they're building prisons right now
yeah.
on what they project the prison rate to be 10 years from now, as opposed to projecting jobs 10 years from now.
Right.
So we're already going to the negative. And at North Shore Prep and Great Lakes Prep, no, we're not entertaining that.
And then financially, though, it's about maybe
yes.
$40,000 per inmate per year.
Per
and
year.
The federal is costs about $90,000 per inmate per year. And education costs are not near that.
Not near that. And we're projecting the negative
Okay.
as opposed to projecting the positive. And I think it comes with the leadership.
Okay.
Again, with both of these schools, they are community driven. Some of the charter schools, they were voted down in the past because people came from the outside. And they're going to say, we're going to do this for you.
Okay.
No one wants to be told when they're grown what you're going to do for them.
Okay.
They want to know what we're going to do. North Shore Prep and Great Lakes Prep is only going to be as strong as the community helps us to make it.
Okay.
And the community's for it. I cannot tell you, this summer I've been here almost every day. And parents are like, yes, when is this coming? When are we going to be able to have this? I want my grandson to go there. I want my daughter to go there. So the myth that we don't want better for our students, but better for our children, no. And we've got to stop projecting prisons.
Okay.
And somehow, isn't it interesting how we have the money and we have private corporations who are willing to fund
Yes.
a prison?
Yes.
So we're challenging you. We're saying we want those same corporations to fund our schools, okay, to fund our children, give them the academics that they need. And so far, for good. Another good plus is Christ Church. Christ Church is very involved in this community. And we're hoping to bring them on board with our schools.
Christ
as well.
Church in this Lake Forest?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
They're very concerned that they see growth from these children. They see progress. They have, I think it's called the North Shore Partners, or what do they call it? Lake Forest Partners?
Community partners, I
Community
think.
partners.
Yeah.
So Christ Church is another good example. They're not just talking. They're walking a walk. They see that there's a lot of good potential, skills out of these children, and they're willing to help to put their funds in there, to put their time, and to put their people.
Isn't it amazing that the leaders in this city sending their children to charter schools and private schools outside of North Chicago? I may admit the mayor of the city of North Chicago is sending his 2 grandchildren to the charter school.
Now that charter school though is in District 187.
Okay.
It's Learn 6, and let's be honest, Learn 6 is doing an outstanding job. Even if you don't, whatever you might feel about it, the numbers don't lie. Learn 6 and Forrestal, I think, were the 2 leading. Now, Forrestal is an elementary school, whereas Learn 6 is K through 8. But they had the highest MET test, PSA test in all of North Chicago. Okay, so even if you don't like, you can say I don't like them, but you can't argue with their results.
Well, continue with their results. The graduation rate was
Yes. Now they had 100% graduation rate this year, and this is the first year they had a graduating class, because they initially started out with like 1, 2, and then 4, 5, and 3, 4, and then they added 6, 7, and they started, by the way. And you've had this young man on your program, Gregory White.
Yeah.
This was his vision to come out here in this community, and Greg White saw the need.
okay.
Now, fortunately, they had a 100% graduating rate. They had a class of 53. All 53 students graduated. But of those, 99% of them are not attending North Chicago High School. So less than 1% out of 53 students, I think it's 52, are going somewhere else.
Wow.
It's a very high percentage. And they opted to take their vouchers or wherever and attend other schools. That is sad, because I'm sure the superintendent of this district was anticipating them going to North Chicago Public School, high school.
Oh, definitely. We talked about it, yeah.
Those parents thought that the type of education that their children had received would be neglected. They didn't feel comfortable. The parents made the choice. It wasn't the teachers. It wasn't Learn 6. The parents. And they weren't all the parents from Great Lakes Navy Base, because a lot of North Chicago's children attend Learn 6, and they were also in that graduating class. And those same parents from North Chicago said, no, I don't want my child to attend North Chicago Community High School. So they took a voucher, and many of those students are going to Highland Park High School. They're going to Regina High School, private school, Notre Dame Prep, Lake Forest Academy. So they're going to other schools.
Oh, boy.
And all we're saying is if you allow us an opportunity to bring North Shore Prep and Great Lakes Prep here, we hope to keep those students here next year.
Who's going to make the decision toward you to charter school?
Each school district. We're trying to appeal to North Chicago, Waukegan, Zion, Round Lake. And each of those school districts make that decision. And we're hoping they vote on behalf of the parents and the children and not the bureaucracy.
Well, I have to give you the last few minutes here and convince our listening audience why the North Chicago Prep and the
North Shore Prep.
North Shore Prep.
And Great Lakes Prep.
And Great Lakes Prep.
Yes,
okay, going to be to their advantage, or to the community's advantage, to Lake County's advantage.
It will be to Lake County's advantage because we hope if they give us an opportunity, if they give us a chance to prove ourselves, and we want to be evaluated strictly, very sternly, to show us. We want you to accept what we can do for your children. It's not what you're going to do for us. It's what we want to do for their children.
Right.
Give us a chance to make your kids the best. That's all we're asking.
Well, I may say that you have demonstrated that you really care.
I love them.
You're a person, and we had to have you here because you are a person that Lake County should know.
Oh, well, thank you.
And you are preparing now to make a difference in Lake County, not just
That's
North
my
Chicago,
dream,
for
Dr.
Lake County.
Brooks. That's my dream, to make a difference. I don't want to come in this world and say I was just here taking up space. I want to make a difference. But the children, it's about the students. It's not about Tower Thomas.
Right. I may mention that we mentioned about success. Pastor Solomon Smith, the pastor of Mount Moriah Christian Center in, I guess that's Waukegan, I guess, right? 10th Street, right across the line. His daughter, Pam Smith, went to Howard University, got her medical training, and decided to come back to Stroger. It's Stroger now, but it was Cook County Hospital.
That's who I met. That's the young lady I met.
Pam Smith.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I thought she went to Daisy's also.
I don't remember. It's been a long time ago.
Okay.
I don't. She may.
I meant Daisy's nursery school.
She may have.
Yeah.
She
said she went to the nursery school.
Oh, she did. Oh man. Okay, that's been a long. You know, when you get old like I am, the three things got away from you. And of course, that's been a long time ago now. That's been 40 years ago.
That's true.
The first three things. The first thing to get away is the memory. I don't remember the other two. So if she said she went to nursery, she probably did.
I'm pretty sure. What was Daisy's nursery school called?
It was Daisy Nursery.
That's what it was. Okay.
Daisy Nursery.
Sure that's where she went.
Yeah, that's the infant center.
Yes.
And Tots and Toddlers was the daycare center.
Okay.
And then Daisy Resource Center. So yeah, she decided, and she's still there.
See?
Oh, not only that, I've got to give another plug. She and her brother, is also a pastor, goes to the Philippines periodically to every other year to help out there.
There's a lot of talent in the North Shore.
And she goes to Africa too.
See, there's a lot of talent in this community. There is a lot of talent, and these are just some of the names you mentioned. We also have some athletes. You know, I know Mr.
Sean Marion,
Mr. Turner. There's a Turner.
Turner, yeah,
he plays football right now.
Yeah,
there's
and
a lot of talent.
Seattle Supersonics of the Brian, what was it, Brian, is it Colbert or whatever? He's got a ring.
See?
You know, so forth. Yeah.
And you mentioned the mayor, Mayor Rockingham, out of North Chicago. He's been doing some good things here nationally. So we have a lot of good talent coming out of this community.
Well, yesterday is history.
Yes,
tomorrow's a mystery.
All we have is...
Today is the present.
Yes.
And that's the reason we call it a gift.
Oh, thanks.
So, Tara, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And you're not only a co-host, but you've done an outstanding job of letting the community know about what's coming as far as the charter school is concerned. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Community Forum And we want to thank you for taking time for your busy schedule, and we hope you have benefited from the program on Community Forum. My name is Dr. Waddell Brooks Sr., your host.